We're here today to try to pull this country back from the brink of authoritarian rule. When this bill was brought before the Dáil and debated, TDs, whose job it is, after all, to speak up on behalf of the citizens of this country, said privately that they felt they could not. Many others said they hoped that the second house, the upper house, the Seanad, would do their jobs for them and make amendments where necessary. And that is what they must do today. But these were the deputies who'd taken the time to even read this piece of extraordinary legislation, which grants totalitarian powers to the state. It's clear that many of them have not even read the bill and have not yet grasped what it means in law and what it will do to this society. If this hate crime bill goes through in its current form, we will have the most oppressive and restrictive hate crime legislation in all of Europe. If this bill goes through in its current form, it will mean the end of free speech and due process. Both of these fundamental rights are guaranteed under the Constitution, and yet here we are with legislation which will topple two pillars of any liberal democracy being pushed through without a referendum. The presumption of innocence, that everyone charged with a criminal offence shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty according to law, and the freedom of expression as protected under Article 40. Now I'm going to outline what's wrong with this bill. Well, firstly, as many others have said before me, it's built on sand. It's based on feelings. The term hate is not even defined. It's entirely subjective. It's something that is felt or perceived. It means that you could be brought before the guards and not even know what you've done wrong or said wrong. It is unconscionable to legislate in this manner based on feelings. The test is motivation and demonstration. It's not objective. That means that even a sticker or a poster like one of these, or a meme, would be enough to meet the threshold and prove your guilt. Moreover, it is being used to collapse the meaning of sex in law. Like with the Workplace Balance and Miscellaneous Provisions Bill, the government is using this bill as a smokescreen to dismantle the meaning of sex in law. Do not let them. Sex or gender as synonymous with sex means male or female, or in the case of our jurisdiction, someone who's acquired a gender recognition certificate is dealt with separately. But under this bill, the government is attempting to create a new definition of gender as a person's preferred gender, or the gender they identify as, or a gender other than male or female. This is nonsensical, but it is dangerous nonsense. Do not let them collapse the meaning of sex in law. They have no mandate to do this. All of the rights and freedoms that we agree that women and girls need and require to live outside the home and to have equality are predicated on sex being a definable and defined and discrete class in law. This is an aggressive attempt to further erode these rights in law. They tried their best with the GRA, they tried with maternity legislation, they've tried to collapse the gender grounds and equality legislation. Now they're trying with hate crime. Do not let them. Under this bill, in its current form, the citizens of this country will lose their presumption of innocence as guaranteed under our Constitution. Does the government even understand this? How can they possibly push through a bill that forces the citizens of this country to prove their own innocence? No longer will it be up to the state to prove that you are guilty. It will be up to you to prove that you are innocent. But we shouldn't be surprised when the stated aim of this provision is to make prosecution easier. This bill criminalises intentional or reckless communication or behaviour that's likely to incite violence or hatred against a person with a protected characteristic. You will be guilty of a crime under this legislation, even where your action did not in fact incite violence or hatred. It's not even necessary to actually publish or spread any message or any content. You do not even have to cause or incite hate. You can simply possess the material. This will usher in an era of post-crime and pre-crime. Search and seizure powers granted to the Gardaí are extraordinary. They will be able to enter your home and seize your electronic devices and even demand your passwords. Senators, do not let this happen. We are the silent majority of this country. We believe in the material reality of sex. We know that sex is binary and immutable. We know that it is impossible to change your sex, that a man can never become a woman, and that no child is born in the wrong body. But we are not protected under this legislation, and it can and it will be used to harass us. This has already happened in England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Norway, where ordinary people voicing their concerns about trans ideology have been arrested or threatened with arrest. They will be able to report this speech I'm making here today as hate speech. Trans-identified people in Ireland are afforded protected status, and we, on the other side of this public debate, are not. There is a complete lack of symmetry in the drafting of this legislation. But we know why this is so, don't we? Hate crime legislation is a tool to enforce gender ideology on the people of Ireland. Senators, do not let them. But we have been here before when we were ruled by a stifling and suffocating iron grip and a closed society. When a dissenting opinion or being spotted in the wrong place with the wrong person was enough to have you committed to one of the many asylums that dotted this country. The church is blamed for the system of homes, but the asylums were run by the state. When we were incarcerating more of our own citizens than the USSR, who was in charge then? The same two parties that have always been in charge. This is nothing new to them. This is in their lineage. They have never known anything but power for 100 years. The 1916 Proclamation of Independence promised a republic that would cherish all her children equally. But some were always more equal than others. The respectable ones, the moneyed ones, the married ones. Now we're back to two camps again. And the ones like us who want a free and open debate about important social issues, and the ones who swallow the orthodoxy whole, who dutifully repeat all the axiomatic slogans like trans women are women, trans rights are human rights. They get a pat on the head from the establishment. We get called bigots, TERFs, transphobes, and now we face the threat of criminal prosecution for daring to dissent. Do not let them tell you that this is progress. Do not let this state sleepwalk back into authoritarianism. This bill is a device to punish wrongthink, to quash debate, to kill off dissent, to control freedom of expression, to copper fasten trans ideology onto our culture. Do not let them. The Countess didn't fight for this.